Amazing. Good afternoon, everyone. And we're just starting our live section now, and we're gonna go straight into the conversation for today. So, I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the secrets that investors do not want you to know as a startup entrepreneur about taking venture or investment or funds to grow your startup business. First of all, I want to believe that if you're watching this, you're a startup founder or CEO, or you're building a product, a service. In some way, you're kind of um, an entrepreneur, right? Great. So this is going to be very, very relevant to you, and uh, you really want to pay attention. So this video is going to be for a couple of minutes, not really going to be really, really long. And then, but at the same time, you want to really, really pay attention and get the juice out of this section. So I'm just trying to set up to ensure that the video is streaming properly live on YouTube. And yeah, we're good to go. Okay, so I'm just gonna just a moment here, and then we're good to go. So investors do not really want you to know about this. They don't want you to know about this secret because if you know about it, you're literally going to be like, why do I need funding? I don't need you guys. I mean, I am not saying you don't need, right? You don't need funding. You do need funding, but not at the startup level, not at the startup stage, because it will hurt your business. As a matter of fact, taking funding is one of the reasons why several startups are failing, why several startups are failing taking funding. Because the fact is, as a a startup founder running a startup, building a startup business, you don't need funding. You need funding for scaling. You don't need funding for at the ideation and the so basically there are four stages. There's ideation stage, there's launching stage, there's the growing stage, and then there is the scaling stage, right? You need funding to scale, expansion, opening multiple branches, or expanding your team and all of that to accommodate more workforce, provides more results for your clients, service your market, expand into the market, gain more fit for the market. A product that the market has have accepted, right? Yes, and then you can scale. You can scale at that point, right? But at the ideation stage, the launching stage, and your growing phase, these first three phases, right, are your testing phases. You don't have a proven system that works. It's this, especially in the first two stage, your ideation and then your launching stage, right? So if this is your testing phases, I mean, I understand. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur as well, right? And I am building a private equity firm, and I'm bootstrapping 100%. We're bootstrapping our private equity company, and I mean, this is not my first business, and I totally understand that um, business success does not come instantly. It comes after a series of processes, right? Processes, time, effort, and all of that, right? And as an entrepreneur, one thing you would definitely face the most is that you're going to fail. You experience failing. And I don't know why people, I'm not digressing, but I just quickly want to put this in. I don't know why most people feel like failing is a bad event. Failing is not. As a matter of fact, failing literally is the fuel you need to succeed. If you don't fail, you can't succeed. How? Because failing help you know what doesn't work. It's just like Thomas Edison, right? Fail multiple times, right? And his failing experiences literally eventually created the result of developing the light bulb that everybody's, enjoying the benefits today. Right. So if you don't fail, you won't know what works. Yes, you can avoid failing by leveraging on the experiences of other people. But guess what? They failed. So there is no success without failing. It's either as your failing experience or someone else's failing experience. One way or the other, the process of failing is part of the process of creating and achieving success, right? So as startup entrepreneur, I just wonder why, like, we feel that when we're starting out in the ideation stage where you develop the idea. I mean, by the way, when you develop the idea, you get the idea, you feel so excited. What you see in your mind, in your imagination, when the idea comes to you, it's a perfect idea. You see the perfect picture, right? You see the perfect picture. Everything is like 100%. And because of what you see in your mind, you get so excited, so fired up and motivated, and you be like, let's get to work. I want to raise $200,000, $1 million, $15 million, so that we can put this idea to work, because already in your mind it is perfect, and you believe that if you take $15 million and you're able to raise $50 million, and then you put that $50 million into work, you're 100% going to achieve what you see in your mind almost like instantly. Well, maybe not instant, within a period of time. I get it. Trust me, I've been there a couple of times. But in reality, it doesn't work that way. No, it doesn't. So in the Bible, and I like talking about this principle from the Bible perspective, because literally it was clearly illustrated there. In the Bible, the story of Moses, of how God used Moses to take the children of Israelite from Egypt into the promised land, which is Canaan land, right? When God gave Moses the vision, what God showed Moses was the promised land of milk and honey, land of prosperity, milk and honey. So God showed the vision, the end result, to Moses. And that gave Moses motivation. Yes, Moses had question, and God answered this question. And based on him accepting the vision of where he wants to go to, of the land of milk and honey, where they're going to, he was motivated. So he is the leader, the CEO, who saw the vision of where the business of the business. He saw the vision of the business, right? And then with that motivation, he went to his team members and told his team members, you know what? This is what I saw, and this is where we're going. Right? I'm going to lead you guys because God is leading me based on what I have seen, right? And then we're going to go on this journey and head into this place. Now, originally, the journey between Egypt and Canaan land, originally, I think is about 60 days, maximum 60 days, right? Either 4 or 6 days. Now, based on the vision, he was excited. He was able to sell that same vision to the team members, right? And then the team members thought about it, like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. They accepted it, right? And then they embarked on the vision. But guess what? Guess what? God knew from the start. He knew because He's Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. He already knew that the vision was not going to be actualized in 6 days. He already knew. In fact, he already knew that Moses was not going to make it into the promised land. Right? So, but he didn't tell Moses that. And he didn't show Moses the process. What he showed Moses was the vision, the end result, the benefit, the end result, the destination, but he didn't show Moses the process. Now, guess what? If he had showed Moses the process, Moses would have said, you know what, I don't want this. I mean, how would you tell me that I'm going to take these people from Egypt into the promised land, but I'm not going to get into the promised land myself? And then it's going to take 400 years for this vision to be accomplished. Are you kidding me? No, I don't want it. Let's stay in Egypt. I'd rather stay in Egypt with these people. I'm not interested. But God did not show Moses the process and didn't tell him all of those details. He just showed Moses the end result. And the end result got Moses fired up, motivated. And that's basically what happens with every startup founder. You get an idea, an amazing, fantastic idea, and you're fired up, you're excited, and you like, you know what, let's raise money now and make this idea become a reality. Let's raise money. And you go out there and take money from investors. You pitch your idea, fantastic idea and everything based on maybe you've built a prototype, or you run the business up to an extent, and like you need money now and all of that. You raise money. Fantastic. But guess what? Raising money, in some cases, I won't say most cases, in some cases, happens to be the beginning of big troubles for those businesses. Yes. And just like in the book of Exodus, it happens with the children of the Israelite as well, right? They start deviating from the vision, the roadmap that God has created for them, which was the same reason why it took them 400 years before getting into the promised land. And guess what? Not the people who started the journey, they weren't the one who eventually got into. I think it was just two persons amongst all the people who started the journey from Egypt that eventually got into the promised land. So at the end of the day, what am I saying here? Your business is not a perfect idea. So why do you think your startup is not the perfect idea in the ideation stage, launching stage, and the growing stage? So why do you think that you need funds to fund what is not a perfect idea when you're going to experience series of failing processes? That is your testing period. Why are you going to lose funds putting fund in what is not going to work? And that is just the process. Nobody said this. Your business is a no. That's just like it is. Even businesses that have gotten to the scaling stage and then they are growing and doing fantastically well. They are still innovating and iterating so that they can stay relevant in the market. Not to talk about you that is just starting out. And investors they take advantage of this information. They take advantage of this process because yes, they know you want to build and you're very passionate about your idea and all of that. You want to make it work and all, and they're like, yeah, you know what? You have a fantastic idea. Let's make it work. And then they ask you how much are you looking for, and then you tell them how much you're looking for, and they say like, no problem, we'll give you the money. You want $100,000, $200,000, no problem, we'll give you the money. It's okay. But the moment you take the money, the first thing that happens, you lose control. You lose control. And that is one of the mistake any startup entrepreneur can make at the inception of your business. Either in the ideation stage, the launching, or the growing phase, losing control. Because remember, when you got started, you had a vision. Yes, I know vision changes, but don't let money, right, become the reason why you're changing your vision. Instead, let the customer satisfaction, customer delivery, client success be the primary reason why you're changing your vision, which is why you should build your company based on focusing on the benefit and the value delivery for the customer, the marketplace, because they are your true fans. They are your true fans. So when you take funding, you move your vision from serving the customers into serving the investors. That's the first thing. You lose control. You lose control. You lose control of your vision because now the investor is now part of your board. They're part of your system. They have voice now because it's giving you money. And now they tell you, you know what, this is what we want. It's not about what you want anymore. It's not about what they want. And I've seen scenarios. I've heard and experienced scenarios firsthand where a founder who happens to be the CEO also take investors funding, and guess what? The founder eventually gets kicked out of the role of CEO and become an employee because the board decide to do so. You lose control. Excuse me, if you know the story about Apple, Steve Jobs, how he was kicked out from his own company where he founded, before he came back in again and then take control. You don't want that to happen to you. Your brainchild, your idea, the vision you got, and everything you've worked for. Once you take on investors funding, guess what? You have become an employee of that business. Well, you could be bearing the title of a founder or a co-founder, as the case may be, but you're an employee because the true owner of that business has become the investors. I'm not saying taking on investors funding is bad. It's pretty cool, but it's good when you are scaling, when you are expanding, becoming very big. So that's one. Number two is pressure, right? You get pressure to scale unsustainably, causing burnout. Yeah, I mean, the reason why investors are putting their money into your business is because they want profits. Yeah, excuse me, do you think they are very concerned, like their number one priority is about customer success? They are businessmen and women. All they care about is profit. How do they, how would they 100x, 20x, 500x their investment into you, into your business? That's what they care about. That's what they care about. And the only way, sorry, excuse me. Oh my God. And the only way they can make their revenue, make their profit back is when they push you, they put pressure on you, right? They put pressure on you to scale into a certain valuation so that they can sell the business. They can exit the business. The business can exit. They can sell the business because it is only when they sell the business they are able to generate, profits based on what they have put in, the investment they've given you, the funds they've given you. As a matter of fact, the fund they are giving you is literally for you to do the work. So you become an employee, like I said. So there's pressure on you from the investors. And for your own health sake, your mental health sake, right? You don't want to put yourself in a state where you are highly pressurized to meet targets. I honestly prefer slow and steady win the race. I prefer that format. I mean, fast is not how quick you get there. Fast is how successfully you get to the destination. That's my definition of growing fast. Not everyone who gets to the destination is successful, right? And then third one is misaligned priorities and decisions. Because now the investors are in control and they're like, this is what we want, this is what we want, which probably will not align with your original vision and go for the business. So these are things you need to look out, right? Now, dependence on external capital, stifling innovation. You want to innovate and all of that, and they tell you, well, sorry, you can't innovate on this. This is what we need you to do. And if you like, you know what, if you're insisting that you want to innovate, you want to change and all of this stuff, the board might reach a decision and unseat you as a CEO or even kick you out. As the founder, you can still be kicked out. It could go by a vote, right? That's it. So these are some of the reasons. And one other thing I would quickly share here is that, I mean, everything I've talked about is probably at the beginning stage and maybe during the process, the running after you've taken the investors funding. But at the end, let's even assume you take the funds and you're able to run the business, right? You take the fund, you're able to run the business to an exit point. Now, do you realize that when you are exiting, you're likely not going to make a lot of money from the exit, and the investors is likely going to take more than 50 to 60, 70, 80% of the profit, and you are meant to sign an NDA at the beginning where you're taking the funds and you can't speak or say or do anything about that. Again, I am not saying taking on investors funding is bad. I'm saying know the right time to take it. What I recommend is this. I recommend you bootstrap your business. Yes, I get it. 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 Bootstrapping is hard. It is tough. Well, it is hard if you don't know how to do it. It is tough if you don't understand the system and the process. It takes long if you don't know the strategy. There are a couple of businesses that are bootstrapped and they are doing fantastically well. Now, I'm not going to go into details right now because the strategy about bootstrapping and how you can quickly do it and all of that, which is exactly what we are doing in our own private equity company, right? And because it's the same strategy, because of this strategy that we're using to bootstrap our own private equity company and we're succeeding, which is because we want to share this strategy, we created the Grow Higher University, right? And make it 100% free. So it's completely free. If you're not part of it, you want to go to growhigheruniversity.com and join the community for free, right? We deep dive and share the strategy in these strategies, the techniques and the process, the system in Grow Higher University, right? So check that out, growhigheruniversity.com. But back to what I'm saying. You see, when you bootstrap and you bootstrap successfully, right? If you choose, remember when you bootstrap, you are still in control. You are still in control. So if you choose to sell your business someday, which is okay if you want to. Oh, by the way, we run a private equity company, like I said, right at the start of this video. And if you want to sell your business, we're interested. So you can just drop a comment in the comment section and our team will get in touch with you and then, do due diligence and all of that. And probably we could acquire your business. So even if your business is in an idea stage or launching stage or growing stage, any of these three stages we're interested, right? Anyway, if you choose to sell your business and you eventually sell your business gets acquired, remember you are in control. You make a lot of profit and then you decide what to do with your money. But if you take on investors' funding and they don't tell you this, those who have gotten their hands burnt will not come out and say this because they've signed a document, right? If you take on investors' funding, you're likely going to lose out because guess what? You are an employee of the investor, even if you're the founder of the business. You are an employee of the investor. And so you're likely not going to make a lot of profit. And I'll give you a case in point here. I'm not going to mention anybody's name or any startup name. But have you heard of founders who start a business, take a venture capital fund or any kind of funding from investors, grow their business, exit the business successfully? You hear, online, maybe a blog or something posts it like XYZ business was acquired by XYZ business for XYZ amount of money, huge amount of money, right? But guess what? The founder and the CEO of that business is broke and has gone back to square one to start another kind of business and repeat the same process. And there are some who rely on investment, venture capital investment. They do their pre-seed, they raise their pre-seed successfully, and the investors tell them, don't worry, in your first round, your first official round, we're going to raise another money for you and all of that. So they don't prioritize cash flow with the mindset of first round, second round, and even third round raising. And then they just do anything that they do, what they like with the money, hire a bunch of staff, pay for a bunch of tools, things that are not necessary, and cash flow is not even prioritized because they focus on just developing products or instead of focusing on serving the market and generating cash flow. They don't prioritize all of this because they're going to raise first round. And the investors have said, don't worry, we'll raise first round for you. And then the time to raise the first round comes because now they need funds after exhausting the pre-seed they raised for product development and all of that. And investors are like, well, sorry, we just hit a rock, something happened and we can't fund you anymore. Hey, excuse me. What I just said now literally happens to a startup business in the UK. And this has happened to several other startup business. And guess what will happen? Eventually, those startup business closed down 100%. Currently not existing. Why? Depending on funding. Why don't you build your business and prioritize cash flow? You build your business, you prioritize cash flow, you're self-sustaining. Your business is self-sustaining, not sustainability from your own pocket as a startup entrepreneur, but sustainability from the business itself. Revenue generated from the business, which is cash flow. And guess what? That way, investors will come begging you. Venture capitalists, capital firms will come begging you for investment, to take investment. And at that time, you're a big boy. You can say no. And guess what? The more you keep saying no, the more your value keeps going up. And eventually, when you choose to sell, you can sell for three, four times the price, way beyond your valuation. Because you've given them an idea that for you to say no, your business is obviously more valued than what they talked or what they think it is. It's always the better option to bootstrap your business. So if you want to learn how to bootstrap your business with strategy, the right strategy, because the concept out there is that bootstrapping is very slow, it is very tough. Well, I'm here to tell you that bootstrapping is not slow and it is not tough. If you know what you're doing, if you know the right system, the process, the strategy, it is not slow and it is not tough. As a matter of fact, it is exciting. Yes, it comes with challenges because, yes, you have to put in the work. Where you should use your money to do stuff, you have to use your brain to think, work out solutions, right? Manage, lead, create, be very, very creative, right? So if you want to learn these things, which we are already practicing and we're using to build our own private equity company, simply go to growhigheruniversity.com and join for 100% free, right? So I want to appreciate you. If you have questions, by the way, you can leave questions in the comment section. And if you're watching this offline, it's okay. If you're watching this after the live section, right, it's okay. You can still drop your comment in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next I'll see you in the next live session, which is every Thursday. So every Thursday we go live, right? So drop your comment in the comment section, drop your questions rather in the comment section, and I probably will just answer your question in the next live session, right? So by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I highly recommend you subscribe to the channel. My name is Wale Adebayo, and thank you for taking our time to watch this. I'll see you in the next live section. Cheers.